Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, you may or may not remember, or maybe you just haven't seen the video, but I've put out this notice a few times during several videos and live streams as well, that once we are governed by a centralized digital currency, we will be totally enslaved. And this article here tells us how they'll do it. Now, for those of you that don't understand what a centralized digital currency is, let me explain it to you. It is a currency that goes on a digital wallet, more than likely an app on your phone, that is made by a central entity. In this case, it would be, for the United States, the Federal Reserve / the Treasury, where funds are deposited to that digital wallet. And this is how they want us to pay for things in the future. Why is that a problem? We have cash apps now where you can actually use your phone to pay for things. Most of our currency is digital. In reality it is. Even though we use a credit card or a debit card, it's really a digital form of payment that we're using. However, it takes away your power to privacy. Right now, you can choose whether to use a credit card or a debit card, or even that phone app that you may have that pays for things. You can choose to do that. Or you can choose to use cash. You can go to the bank, take cash out, buy whatever you want with cash. Can't really be traced. Well, with a digital currency that is centralized, that is controlled by one entity, do you really think that they are going to allow you to buy what you want, when you want it, and allow the value of your dollar to stay where it is for very long? Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. We have a centralized digital currency, right? That's governed by our Treasury and the Federal Reserve, i.e. our government. And if they think that inflation is too low, they can put a timestamp on your currency. Let me tell you what the difference between centralized and decentralized are. For example, a decentralized digital currency would be something like Bitcoin. Something that does not have a headquarters that any entity can knock down the doors and tell them you're closed, right? So Bitcoin is a good example of a decentralized digital currency. A centralized digital currency would be something like what they're working on, and in my opinion, they already have it done. They're just waiting for the next major crisis to come so that they can introduce this government digital currency, i.e. the Fed coin, we've all heard of it by now, to say, hey, here you go, you want me to stop the pain? Accept this digital currency, and then we can send you money. Because it's easier that way. We can get it to you quicker. So if we go into a centralized digital currency that is controlled by one entity, i.e. the Federal Reserve, the government, ladies and gentlemen, do you know how much power that would allow them to have over us and how we interact on a daily basis? Let me just give you one example. Let's say that your digital wallet has X number of dollars in it. However, you owe money to the IRS. Do you think that it would be easier for them to take that money from your digital wallet than it would be if you were hoarding cash in your home? Just think of it. That's just one example. We can sit here and talk for hours on how many different examples they can use a digital currency against us. Let me go ahead and get a little more draconian on you, right? Hey, AP's a fat body and he loves McDonald's. Boy, does he love McDonald's. Well, you know, the government just opened up a branch that tracks what everyone buys so that they can help them stay healthy. And on my second trip to McDonald's this month, I couldn't pay them because my digital wallet would not allow me to pay them. Because I got put on a list saying, hey, you're a fat body, you're only allowed one trip to McDonald's a month. Now go ahead and fill that in with anything you want, any scenario you want. That is the control that they would have over us if we have a centralized digital currency. You see, something like Bitcoin, and I'm not promoting Bitcoin, but I'm just giving you a comparison. Something like Bitcoin cannot be controlled by an entity. Bitcoin is decentralized, meaning that there is no headquarters. There is no Bitcoin building that the government can go and knock down and say you're shut down. Sure, they can try to tax it. They can try to make it illegal and all these kind of things. But since it doesn't have a headquarters where you can knock the doors down, they really can't shut it down. They tried in China and they couldn't. They've tried in several other countries and they can't shut it down because it's decentralized. No one controls it. With a centralized digital currency, they will have control over what we can and cannot purchase. So I'm looking at this article here, and it says the IMF wants to use your digital footprint of your online activities to access credit worthiness. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that title is probably the scariest title that I've read for a very long time, because it implies that what's happening in China now with their social credit program could come around worldwide. And like I said, it says here, the system has already begun in China and is now spreading globally. Why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Why is it spreading globally? Why? Because this system is being enacted by governments. And what are governments here for? Governments are not here for the people like they're supposed to be. Governments are here for one thing and one thing only, for government. That's it. All those bunkers that they say that they have around the U.S. in case some kind of tragic thing happens, whatever it may be. Those aren't for you or me. Those are for government. That's who they're for. I'm not going to read the entire article, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave the link to this in the bottom of the description if you want to come and revisit it. So I'm just going to get to the parts that are kind of a red flag to me, right? So what does this all mean for our financial future? It means the IMF authors suggest the global banking network begin using a history of online search and purchases to determine credit worthiness. So what this is saying is that they want to be able to track our online activities in order to decide whether we are worthy of credit. Now, if they can do that, they will be able to decide whether we are worthy of being able to use that digital currency that's coming. It's coming to a city near you, ladies and gentlemen. In the future, it will be here. This system would see any form of dissent resulting in the cutoff of those credits and the ability to work, eat, or even exist in society. It would not only be the end of dissent, but of any semblance of the real individuality. What does this mean? That means that if you don't toe the line, you're not going to get anything. It means that individuality, uniqueness will be gone, because everyone that wants to participate within the system will have to do what they are told. Here it says where they outline a plan to create a universal basic income. The scheme tied to a social credit system will essentially cut off the financial lifeline to anyone who does not entirely toe the establishment line. Continuing on, the pairing of online history with credit scores is bad enough. Doing so has prevented many otherwise credit-worthy citizens from assessing what they need to start a business, buy homes, rent apartments, or buy cars. Some states had suggested laws that use your search history and social media when being assessed for your worthiness to purchase a firearm. And the Bank of America has made it incredibly clear just this past week that your purchases and financial records are not your private property. However, pairing both of those with the universal basic income is even worse. We are fast approaching a time where even the slightest difference of opinion from the norm, i.e. the ruling class, can result in a complete freeze-out of the offender from the entire society. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure how humanity is going to make it. We have so many things coming at us from so many different directions. I can see how some people get overwhelmed just with the information that we have on, all over the world. I mean, anything that happens nowadays, we know within a few seconds because of the internet, because of the technology. We already know about it. But some things, ladies and gentlemen, is worth listening to. Some things is worth, taking a look at to make sure that you can see the signs before they get here. So with this digital credit score system, if it does happen here in the US and they do implement a digital currency that is governed centrally by our government / the Federal Reserve, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And this is not fear-mongering. This is reality. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got something out of this. I hope you go take a look at this article because it's really worth reading the whole thing. All right? Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper. I'm out.